This is the Let's Talk Toxins show. I'm Dr. Gayla Gorman, a licensed acupuncturist, naturopath, and author of What's Your Kryptonite? I'll answer questions and share insights to help reverse the effects of chronic stress that's turned toxic. Are you ready to identify your unique kryptonite? You can find several ways to get the process started at drgala.com/links. drgala.com/links. This is the first episode for 2024. We're talking about anemia in menopause and how to reverse it naturally. I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've received and help you dig a little deeper, put a plan together to help you reverse anemia if this is an issue for you. What I find is that women don't even realize that anemia is their problem. They just know that they're dealing with chronic fatigue that's just relentless. Actually, diagnosing anemia can really help change your perspective and, most importantly, how you treat it. I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've received here around this topic. I have a video and a post on my website that goes into a little more detail and a little more depth. But let's see if some of the questions that others have asked will help you get to the bottom of why you're feeling this fatigue that just won't abate. So, what causes anemia? Well, it's fascinating that we really don't tend to address the cause of anemia until it's become really severe. Anemia is caused by a deficiency in your blood, but your blood becomes deficient because of nutrient deficiencies. So what we find is that stress may be making it difficult for you and your body to convert raw building blocks to energy, meaning your food, the air, the water, even potentially supplements you're taking may not be converted to nutrients, and then your blood becomes deficient over time. Anemia technically is a red blood cell problem, but you know that I'm always focused on the root cause resolution of any issue. So we have to make sure that you're eating a high quality, nutrient dense diet, and that those raw building blocks you're consuming are actually being converted to something that your body can use. So we're really not sure exactly what causes anemia. It's typically going to be some degradation either of your diet, maybe you're just eating a diet that's just not cutting it, or over time your digestion has really suffered and then your blood has not been nourished appropriately. What are the signs that point to anemia? So always just feeling tired would be a potential sign to at least have you thinking about anemia being a possibility. But also you want to be looking for things like just tingly, nerve issues can point to anemia. Being pale, like really pale skin may point to anemia. And again, I've got a post on my website that goes into this in more detail. There are actually 3 different types of anemia that I go into more thoroughly and identify what the signs and symptoms are that tend to correlate to each type of anemia. Is anemia a serious health issue? You bet it is. If your blood is not being nourished properly, how long do you think you're going to be able to live a really high quality life with blood that's not getting the job done? Our body is reliant on our blood to carry nutrients to where they're needed at the time. So anemia is definitely not something to take lightly. One of the ways you can just immediately find relief if you're feeling this chronic stress and thinking that that may be contributing to your feeling of being really super drained, tired, is just add in some beef, particularly high quality grass-fed beef. If you will eat 20 to 30 grams of grass-fed beef in a meal, I know I find that this provides almost immediate relief for me. And when I find that that does provide relief, it's also an indication that I've got some of these issues going on. So that might be something that's happening in your world as well. Should I supplement with iron if I think I'm anemic? So if you've been following me for very long, you know that I don't recommend supplementing long-term regardless. If you do find that you've got a serious health issue, a deficiency, you may want to supplement short-term. But iron is a really tough thing to supplement with. It can cause worse problems with digestion and constipation. So you definitely don't want to supplement with iron if that's not what the problem is. And so that's why we need to know, are you actually digesting the food you're consuming? Are you anemic in the way that would call for supplementing with iron? To kind of figure that out, we typically run a blood test, a ferritin blood test, and that'll give us a better idea of exactly what type of anemia you're dealing with, if in fact anemia is your issue. Again, one of the best ways to increase your iron levels naturally is with beef, or, grass-fed beef in particular, but you can also supplement with what I refer to as food enhancement supplementation. So I do on occasion use liver or organ supplementation that just helps to supplement a diet that maybe you may struggle to get enough protein. I find that that's a very common problem, especially with women. We don't tend to structure a meal around protein, and we need to be getting 20 to 30 grams of protein at least 2, if not 3 times a day. And if we're also leaning into intermittent fasting, which I suggest you do, then getting that 30 grams of protein and at least 2 meals a day is going to be critical, especially if fatigue is one of your issues. How do I determine whether I have anemia or not? So there are some ways, like I just told you, try adding more protein, in particular beef, to your diet. If you feel better, chances are you were borderline anemic. But if this is something that you really feel like is a problem for you, you have all the signs and symptoms, then a blood test is the best way to identify what's really going on. And you want to make sure that that blood test includes vitamin B12, vitamin D, and also ferritin levels. If your doctor does not want to run the extra tests, then you may need to press a little harder to get the information to determine if anemia, in fact, is something that you need to be concerned about. Can I reverse anemia with diet alone? So the truth is, you're going to have to reverse anemia with your diet, but you may need to improve your digestion in order to be able to, even if you eat the perfect diet, which you're going to need to regardless, you're going to need to really improve your diet, high quality, nutrient dense food, but it may take a while for your digestive system to heal and we may find that we need to do some additional things to help relieve some of the stress that your digestive system is under so that it does have the extra energy it needs to heal. But you absolutely will need to reverse this situation with diet. But if it's really severe, you may need to treat around your digestive tract temporarily and buy yourself a little time to be able to get things working again internally. So yes, anemia is treated with diet unless it's really severe and your digestion is really compromised, in which case you may have to approach the initial stages of reversing anemia with a little more of a 1-2 punch. And remember, if your digestion is compromised, then supplements aren't going to help much either. So that means that you've got kind of a bigger problem to deal with, and that is going to require some professional help. And those are the questions that I had submitted today. So if your question was not answered, then I just urge you to comment somewhere around this video, wherever you're watching this live, and let me know. If your question doesn't get answered today, then just know that you can go to drgala.com/links and find a number of ways to be able to contact me. This was the Let's Talk Toxin show. If your question wasn't answered, comment below or visit drgala.com/links. Again, drgala.com/links. Thanks for tuning in.